The winner was making his second lifetime start, right? And the winner also is bred to go a lot longer than a mile and a 16th. So the race itself, I was not impressed with. The horse Golden Tempo that won the race, and you could even throw Mesquite in there as well. They should get better, and they're going to have to get better, but they have every right in the world to get better. So that race, will it translate to a Kentucky Derby winner? Specifically just watching that race? No, but can this horse get better? Can Golden Tempo run in the Risen Star, go a little bit longer, third race of his career, and maybe be, jump up 7 or 8 buyer points? Yeah, he could. He absolutely could. So that's kind of how I want to take it. I don't want to be on record of saying all those horses suck, because I don't know. I think they all did kind of suck on that specific day, but I do think Golden Tempo specifically can get better and should get better as we go along.
Yeah, I want to point out Golden Tempo specifically because this is a horse. I picked this horse. A lot of things against Golden Tempo going to this race. Never had gone 2 turns. Was only a second career start. Things that people generally don't look for in the Lecomte because it is a longer prep earlier in the season, especially if a horse doesn't have a ton of stamina built up. I thought this was a really impressive race from Golden Tempo for a couple reasons. First off, first time going 2 turns gets the win. Immediately, especially in a Kentucky Derby prep race, that is a very big positive. Secondly, this isn't an easy trip for a 3-year-old, the one that Golden Tempo got. Closed up the rail, something that you don't generally see horses do unless they are a little forward mentally. I think this proved that Golden Tempo a little ahead of the game there from that perspective. And secondly, like we talked about the breeding last week, this is a Curlin out of a Bernardini mare. The distance is going to get better with more time here. And if you already have a mentally forward horse who I think is bred to be able to handle additional distances and then gets this win off a 6 furlong race, I think all of that bodes well for the future for specifically Golden Tempo. I'd be surprised if Golden Tempo doesn't end up in the Kentucky Derby gate. And I would expect this is a horse that is, depending on how we project out, but right now I would expect this is a horse that ends up somewhere between 7 and 15 to 1 in the Kentucky Derby.
I agree with you. He did everything the exact right way. He checked boxes that go, man, that's a pretty good horse. He just did it slowly, right?
Right.
But again, to that point of what you said, second start, first time going long, he has every right in the world to improve in his next start. So that's why I keep saying, with him specifically, I don't really hold much against him. He won, and that was kind of the only box he needed to check for this specific race. Win, finish up nicely, things like that. The rest of them, though, I don't know. I don't know, Mike. They're not great. Mesquite, I think you can take and maybe think he's a little bit lesser version of Golden Tempo, but I think he will improve a little bit. The rest of these horses, the 2 Brad Cox horses run last and second to last, they showed nothing. I still don't like Chip Honcho whatsoever. I know he ran 4th. Carson Street, I feel like had every chance to win the race, who ran 3rd and got beat. I just don't know what was in here. And again, even the one horse or the horses that ran 1-2, they're going to have to improve out of this race.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I think everyone has to improve. The goal is to be your best first Saturday in May, and I don't think this is even close to the best that we're going to see from Golden Tempo. I'm not nearly as sold on Mesquite. I think this is a horse where it wasn't the first time going 2 turns. This is a horse that had a little bit more foundation built underneath. I think Golden Tempo is really the horse to watch out of this one. You mentioned the 2 Brad Cox horses, very disappointing from both White Tiger and Thunderbuck, who you mentioned finishes last and second to last. My biggest issue with Golden Tempo here is not sure what we beat. But again, beating these type of horses first time out 2 turns, I think is at least enough of a positive start moving forward. Some people are arguing the best 3-year-old that we saw run on this card was actually from the 3rd race. The number 1 horse, Jackson Hole, a Todd Pletcher horse that sold for $1.3 million at auction, son of Nyquist out of a Bernardini mare. So again, really well bred for the distance. Goes gate to wire, doesn't beat anything, but looks like the actual a good horse in this spot. What did you think of Jackson Hole? Ran a little bit faster than Golden Tempo when you look at the times. What did you think of Jackson Hole going gate to wire there in the 3rd?
I thought it was really good. This is another horse that was just making his second career start. He was also another horse stretching out in distance for the first time. He beat nothing, and there's no arguing that. And he got an absolutely ideal, perfect trip. There's no arguing that either. I mean, he went out to the front and went gate to wire, and he never had any pressure the whole time. My biggest thing with him, if you watch his maiden race, he won it. he was a mess. He acted like he had no clue what he was actually out there supposed to do. This race, he kind of was pretty professional, really. And so that was my biggest takeaway. Just mentally, he got a lot better race 1 to race 2. He got an 84 Beyer speed figure for the effort. Golden Tempo got an 81. I mean, it's apples and oranges, really, when it's that kind of separation. Basically the same. And like you said, Golden Tempo didn't get a great trip. Jackson Hole did. So, look, I think he kind of is in the same kind of light as Golden Tempo at this point. I think they got better in their second starts. I think there are reasons to believe they could get better again as they keep racing. So Jackson Hole's on the radar is how I would describe it. I don't think he's a top 5 horse. I don't even really think he's a top 10 horse as we sit here and talk about it, but he got on the radar. It was a pretty solid improvement race 1 to race 2.
Yeah, going to be interesting to see where Jackson Hole goes next. Pletcher, not normally a fairgrounds path for his Kentucky Derby horses. That was, to me, one of the negatives about Jackson Hole, is that we were at fairgrounds, not Gulfstream, where you generally see those Pletchers go through that progression when they're leading up to the Kentucky Derby. So I'm interested to see, do we stay at fairgrounds? Do we step up into the Kentucky Derby points? Do we end up at Tampa? Do we end up at Gulfstream? Where he decides to go with Jackson Hole, I think that kind of will tip the hand on what exactly Todd Pletcher thinks of this horse as well when it comes to ranking his Derby contenders.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, over the years, we've seen him ship horses to fairgrounds, talking about Todd Pletcher, and they usually are the second, third, fourth string horses. The kind of the thing with Jackson Hole, though, that we kind of know, he's not Ted Noffey, right? And that horse is at Gulfstream. He's probably not Nearly, who ran a 96 Beyer last time out. He's kind of at Gulfstream as well. So it is kind of one of those situations where he probably sitting there thinking, well, I got to send him somewhere. I don't really plan to run him here. Maybe run him over fairgrounds. Let's see if he likes it. And then we'll throw him into the Risen Star next. That could be what he's thinking. But it goes to exactly what you're saying. We know that he's not the top 1, 2, 3 horses in his barn right now.